Hey, same room, different setup. Don't get distracted. Today's video is going to be about balancing out anonymity versus being known in a world where everything's gone digital. I remember hearing a while ago this this phrase that people believe is a truism, that people's greatest fear is public speaking. And I didn't believe it then, and I really don't believe it today. I see all the people that just cannot wait to stand in line to try to be the next American Idol. I see people who are looking for validation and hits and likes, and they overshare to the potential of their own detriment, right? When I was when I got my first house years ago, within 24 hours the doorbell rang. I thought, who's that? So I go to the front door, and I was surprised to see three little kids. Found out later on they live right next door, and I think they told me, "Hey, we live next door. Hi, welcome. Uh, do you have any children?" So they were looking for new playmates, and I had to disappoint them that, hey, sorry to disappoint you, it's just me. But I got on friendly terms with them, and their mom, she was in a serious relationship, but she was a single mother of these three youngsters. And I believe she's married to the man she was dating at that time. I think so. I don't know. But fast forward a few years, one of those young kids, I think the oldest one, he was the first to get his learner's permit, and was so excited about it, he posted a picture of it on Facebook. I saw it. I thought, man, this is not a good move. I saw a girl that I knew. She went on a cruise. Not only did she share current pictures of the cruise, she shared uh, the credentials that got her on the cruise, which were her driver's license and her passport, her open passport. She had them on the bed in her room on the ship, the cruise ship, and took a picture of that, posted it on Facebook. Then there was a time I was watching the Democrat National Convention, and you could probably still see this today, where somebody was speaking and they brought up the topic of Medicare. And this lady in the audience held up her Medicare card like this, tight, just holding it up. And the cameraman got a tight shot of her. You could read what was on it. And he took the shot away and then brought it right back. I paused the TV and took a picture of it because I wanted to remember how quality dumb this was. This stuff happens. People overshare. When I went to a security conference, cybersecurity conference, local to the Dallas area, there was a guy doing a presentation, and he was talking about LinkedIn. And they on purpose set up a fake account with schools that people would recognize, respectable schools, high school and uh, universities. And it gave the appearance that they were graduates of the university and people wanted to connect with them. They also had the job of recruiter. So this is a fake account of a recruiter. And reaching out to folks through social engineering and gathering up data. They said, look at some of these messages. People are telling us what kind of antivirus system they're using at their facility. And we have a penetration testing team. And as long as we know what kind of system they're using, we can write code to exploit the vulnerabilities of that system. So that can happen from oversharing. And I knew this before I even got a security clearance. It's just, you got to be real careful. So that's in the private sector, but then you take it to the federal sector, you can overshare in certain ways, and that data can be aggregated and someone can figure out something that maybe they shouldn't. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're in the Navy and you're married and you have at least one child. You regularly get haircuts on the base or the post or off base. Every 2 weeks or every week or every month, you get a haircut and you're regularly scheduled in. And then all of a sudden your barber notices that you're not scheduling the next one. Your wife has a hairdresser or she goes to a nail salon, and while she's getting serviced at the nail salon place or hair salon, she lets it be known that she's planning a special meal at home, bought all the ingredients for this special meal. One of your children is at school and saying, hey, I really want to make sure I spend a lot of time with dad this weekend because he's going to be gone for a while. Well, people can aggregate that information and recognize dad is in the Navy. He's either going to be on a submarine or a ship that's going to be leaving around this time and possibly not coming back until this other time. What can we do with that information? What can the adversary do with that information? And that's how loose lips sink ships. It's not just a saying, it's true, it can happen. And so rather than exposing themselves to this kind of danger, a lot of cleared folks just don't participate a lot on social media, even LinkedIn. They have very few connections. I had very few. I didn't even have my picture out there until I'm being told by other folks, hey, maybe that's the reason why you're not getting the hits that you should. You got to have good quality headshot. I even have a friend that says your headshot, you need to be smiling in your headshot. You need to have over 500 contacts. They need to see that, or else you're not very active. Cleared people don't feel like they need to spend much time there because they have other avenues. There's clearancejobs.com, for example. You have to have a clearance in order to even have your data on that site. It's basically like dice.com, but for cleared people. I think Dice at one time was affiliated with it. And of course, they have their other networks or people calling them all the time. They're in people's databases as cleared personnel. There's a smaller pool of people to pull from for opportunities, and they've never had to look. I didn't once I got the clearance until real recently. I'm in an area where there's not a whole lot of that work going on. And as I may have said in another video, once you're cleared, once you're on assignment, even if the contract is in jeopardy or is coming to an end, somebody else is making a lot of money off of your timesheet and they want to keep you billable. So they will typically try to find another contract to put you on so that you're working. But speaking of another way that you can give away too much information, maybe you remember the movie Forrest Gump. And the first time Forrest Gump and Bubba meet Lieutenant Dan, they salute him, reporting for duty. And he says, don't salute me. Are you crazy? There's snipers all around, and they wouldn't love anything more than to take out an officer. So that's a way of giving off information that you probably don't want to give off. And so if I could give you a piece of advice from a tech person, don't tell people where you currently are. Don't tell them where you're going. If you want to brag, tell them where you've been. Show pictures once you get back home. I even saw this during Christmas time, people sharing pictures, Merry Christmas, and they clearly were on vacation someplace. Skiing. Don't let people know you're not home. There are people who are not doing that on purpose, like these professional athletes, these professional football players. I'm tired of seeing a headline on Monday morning about how these players who were at an away game over the weekend had their homes raided. Look, it happened to Patrick Mahomes' house. It happened to I believe Kelsey's house. And years ago, while he was at the Super Bowl, Mr. Gronkowski, Mr. USAA, it happened to him. I'm like, hey guys, you can just hire me to be a house sitter. A nominal fee plus expenses, and I will house sit in your house. I will not. I don't even have to sleep in one of the guest beds. I will sleep on the couch. I'll watch the football game from there. I will raid your refrigerator, but I won't hurt anything, and I'll make sure that nobody tries anything. They'll likely see my dinky rental car in front of the house and realize it's not vacant to go someplace else. So if y'all are seeing this, reach out, right? You can do your background check, but I'm already vetted, top secret security clearance, but you can do your background check too, and we can make this happen. Well, I want to make sure I've covered what I want to cover here. Yeah, I'll cover that. That's about it. I wanted to say something else, but I don't want to blur the lines of this particular video. I'll cover that in a different topic. It's going to be more about how it's more about the current event thing that we're seeing about ISIS and being in the U.S. It's another reason why, hey, I don't want to be but so public, because then I make myself a target and people like to come after you. Um, they will love nothing more than to get any citizen dead. And then that creates fear, and it stokes panic. And they want that. But just like with the Lieutenant Dan thing, don't salute. They would like nothing more than to get an officer. Well, they would also like to get nothing more than maybe some cleared personnel, because of what they perceive our access is. We have data that could potentially, if they got their hands on it, could lead to grave danger, right? Would potentially have access to that information. And so it's another reason why you'll find a lot of folks who are in the cleared space not being as public as the rest of the general public. But we are living in a world where, man, even the folks who are interviewing me for those jobs, very few hands have I shaken, because it's all electronic. Thanks for tuning in. If you got some value out of this, like, share, subscribe. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.